This month, Scotland has become the first country in the whole world to make sanitary products free for all. While this is a huge milestone, back home, the fight against period poverty continues. Millions of South African women and girls are severely affected by not having access to the right or any hygiene products. Two movements in Gauteng and Cape Town joining forces to lead a peaceful protest this Friday. They'll be calling on government to take urgent action and completely eradicate period poverty. The founder and CEO of Femconnect, Asonele Kotu, joins us now to discuss this movement and for the latest. Good afternoon, Asonele. Thank you very much. Welcome to today here on eNCA. Can we just begin here? I think it was in 2018 when the government here decided to vet zero-rate sanitary towels. Has this proven not to be sufficient and efficient? You might be muted, Asonele. Just double check. Are you muted by any chance?
Yes, I was. Sorry.
Oh, now I can hear you now. Yes, I was asking you about the zero-rating vet and the impact of that. How has that been?
Well, since 2018, when the former finance minister at that time, Tito Mboweni, announced the tampon tax or the VAT-free tax on sanitary products in South Africa, that was definitely a starting point for us as a country. However, if you look at the inflation, unemployment, and all the other economic barriers that have happened between 2019 and where we are right now, still, there are some people that are unable to purchase their own products. And we've seen that even though the tax-free products have been made available, we're still far from reaching or alleviating period poverty because there are so many people on the ground. Close to over 3 million girls are still struggling with the issue of period poverty.
Now, do you think government has been deaf or blind, or maybe both, to the plight of girls who cannot afford sanitary towels? I mean, you have Scotland now, the first country in the world, moving to say these products are now free for everyone.
Scotland is definitely an inspiration, and I congratulate them for the strides that they've taken. I would say that perhaps our government does try to implement projects such as the dignity framework and distribution. However, it has not been efficient enough to reach the amount of demand that is there on the ground. We're constantly seeing so many people doing it at a personal capacity, or NGOs or community-based organizations or church-based organizations that are doing drives in their personal capacity or organizational capacity without any funding support or any grant support that goes towards the distribution that they do in their communities. Therefore, I would say as much as government has tried to do the amount of work that they are doing, we are still pretty much far from what we can achieve overall in terms of eradicating period poverty and making sure that we look at all the different aspects when it comes to period poverty and not just the distribution of sanitary pads.
Yeah, and you've made comments publicly as well, Asonele, that the impact of period poverty and that it has in terms of if girls and women especially don't access hygiene products, they really affect them. Just tell us about the kind of impact you're seeing.
Well, the impact is, it comes in different ways. There's the social impact aspect where you are isolated in terms of sometimes not being able to go to school. Sometimes you're unable to even go to work because you find that there are some women that struggle with menstrual-related chronic illnesses like endometriosis and so forth, which sometimes limits them from going to work. There's also the part where there's a gap in terms of education that is available to educate girls, women, and every menstruator, not just to limit it to girls and women, because any person who menstruates is in need of educational information around what is happening to your body, and also destigmatizing the taboos around menstruation and menstrual health. Also looking at the aspects of access to wash facilities, clean toilets, having a simple thing like a toilet roll in the girls' bathroom, a bin to drop off your sanitary pad. Those kind of things impact the confidence of a person who does not have access to it. It impacts the way that you live. You're not free enough because your human human right is infringed. You do not have access, full access to all the supportive structures that are supposed to be there to support you in your journey of menstruation.
Okay, I mean, it's a natural biological process, this that we're talking about. It's not like something is alien or out of this world. I mean, it's unbelievable that there doesn't seem to be an understanding about the impact that you've just painted. I mean, there are many organizations like yourselves that are dealing with the girl child, ensuring that the girl child, for example, remains in schools. What are the kind of solutions you are putting on the table here in terms of, because there's a vet one that's been done. Scotland has really done the best ahead of everybody in the world by saying sanitary hygiene products are now free for all. What are the solutions you think you're going to be putting on the table? You are going to be demonstrating on Friday. What are you going to be asking that can be done more than what has been done already?
Well, on Friday, we are demonstrating as a collective of various organizations. This movement actually started 4 years ago, which was led by Nozola Ndwandwe of Team Sanitary Pads. And we had a petition that was set up 4 years ago, which now has over 34,000 people that have signed. And what we are asking the government to do is, let's look at period poverty holistically, not just the fact that there's a barrier to free products, but then let's look at how we integrate education systems into fighting period poverty. How do we integrate access to clean facilities, toilet facilities, clean sanitation? How do we integrate that to making sure that the girls that are in the most disadvantaged communities are supported in their surroundings to be able to function properly when they are in the period? We also look at how do we empower people in order that when girls are not missing school, they're much more empowered in terms of in their progression in their career. We also are asking for the fact that if you walk in, to give you an example, if you walk into a shop, you will most probably see pads and tampons, but we have so many other local producers of menstrual products such as menstrual panties, there's rewashable pads, there's menstrual cups that are locally produced. And we hardly see any of the locally produced products in our markets around us, but it is usually available on a small scale for the communities where the entrepreneurs are working. So there is an element of also job creation and economic empowerment in this area as well for people that are producing products that could be used by girls all over in South Africa and beyond South Africa.
So overriding this, from what I'm hearing, you are looking for a coherent and comprehensive approach in terms of menstrual health and hygiene management across the board.
Across the board, a holistic approach that touches on the different areas that have a role to play in ensuring that there's easy access to menstrual health and dignity in South Africa.
Yeah, you've mentioned some numbers. I mean, I know that there are several organizations like yourselves, like Imbumba Foundation. They go to schools, they distribute sanitary pads, and then there's what you call the education about what's happening to me. So that partnership that you are having on Friday with some organizations, is this a model for you going forward? Because sometimes I always hear when NGOs like yourselves are operating that when you are on your own, it's not easy, but you become stronger when you work together.
Definitely, Dan. And that is why we actually came to becoming one collective body, because we find that in working as our different silos in our communities, we don't have much of an impact. However, when we're all coming together, we realized that, Asonele has a technology platform that can plug into Dan's project that is running in his community and he's doing distribution. And there's another person that is doing activism. So it becomes like a whole ecosystem where we all fit into each other and we feed into each other in different areas and in different ways where we're reaching out to the community, and it makes the voice so much more powerful.
Yeah, and if you may answer this very last question very briefly, would you like to see a Scotland in South Africa?
Oh, yes. I want South Africa to be the second country in the world that has actually declared free sanitary pads. And I would like to see us move forward in terms of making sure that we deal with this issue around period poverty, because we've been talking about it for a very long time.
Asonele Kotu, thank you very much for your time. She's, of course, the founder and CEO at Femconnect. She and a number of other organizations will be marching peacefully on Friday, asking government to really take measures to end period poverty in our country.